This is the evaluation of my client's consultation for 7.2. In physical activity, the strength of my client is that the client goes to the gym twice a week, which is a positive because it means they're willing to spend some of their free time to best themselves by improving their health, which will improve their lifestyle by releasing some of the stress they have. Going to the gym twice a week is good if they're doing the suitable exercises for the lifestyle that they live and the correct amount of it. Besides the gym, the client walks to and from work and uni when they have work. However, this only accounts for around 20 minutes of their recommended exercise per week, but the fact that they walk to work is a positive because they will benefit from doing it so long term. It is recommended that adults do 150 minutes of exercise per week. Therefore, this will contribute 20 minutes towards that. The other positive is that the client does enjoy exercising when they get the chance to, which means they'll be motivated to do a training program should this suit them. In the future, the client can remain motivated by continuing what they're doing, and it is likely that they'll want to go to the gym or just go for a run to exercise because they will be motivated enough to best themselves through exercise. This exercising will be good because not only will it benefit their fitness, but it will also combat the issue of smoking that the client has, because while smoking is ruining their lungs, the physical activity will help develop the lungs back towards where they were, so it won't worsen as drastically as it would otherwise with just the smoking. On the other hand, the negatives of that is that they do not exercise quite as regularly as they should do for their age. As they are young adults, they should be getting just over the recommended amount of exercise for an adult, particularly as they are at uni and have to deal with a lot of stress in their life. Exercise would be a good way to release some of the stress that they gain from the combination of uni and work. They have a very tight timetable for uni, meaning that they have very limited time to exercise regularly, particularly to a good standard to suit their lifestyle. In terms of nutrition, the strengths from the client are that they have both positives and negatives in this field, but the main positives are they do in fact manage to drink the recommended amount of water every day, which is significant because drinking the recommended amount of water a day will mean that they are able to concentrate efficiently. This is particularly important for this client as they go to university and have a job as well, and therefore they need to concentrate for long hours at a time, virtually all the time. Also, the fact they go to gym will require them to drink more water than they would if they didn't, so that this is very positive as they're drinking a good amount of water, so they'll be able to go to gym on top of what they're already doing in their busy lifestyle with the job and uni. The way that this would be a negative thing is that if the client did not drink the recommended amount of water every day, would be extreme because it'd be extremely hard to concentrate in uni and work properly, meaning they would get headaches, etc., and they would also struggle with going to gym because they would always feel very ill from dehydration. Despite having the recommended amount of water per day, in terms of their food nutrition, it could be better as they do not have a balanced diet due to the time constraints, as well as missing out on meals because of their time constraints also. The fact that they do miss out on meals would be a big part of the reason behind them not being able to maintain a balanced diet at all. A reason for the client missing out on meals could be down to the fact that they are not very organised compared to what they could be, because they might not be preparing meals to have on the go whilst at uni and at work. Being able to fit every meal in the day would massively improve the balance of their diet. Missing out on so many meals could eventually lead to mental health problems and complications, but can also make the client feel more stressed. Since they are stressed already, it may develop into something even worse mentally. In terms of alcohol, the strengths are that the client doesn't drink very often, and it's mainly in social situations that they feel obliged to drink, and as everyone else around them is doing so they feel like they should join in. This is a positive as it's the only time they tend to drink alcohol. This means that alcohol for this client is no way near being an addiction, which is very good because alcohol addiction can have many extreme side effects such as potential liver disease. Drinking only in social situations is not very harmful, providing that it is not a frequent occurrence. However, if done too often, this could be massively detrimental to their health, both mentally and physically. So it's a good idea that the client avoids most of these health risks by not drinking very often. One last positive of this is that the client becomes less stressed when they consume alcohol, meaning that they do not feel as pressured within their extremely busy lifestyle they currently hold. However, on the negative side, the client does enjoy drinking in a social situation with their friends on nights out together. This is negative because if it occurs regularly, then it may develop into worse things and put the client in a mindset where they depend on alcohol, and it's likely to, at the moment that they would be in that situation, it would end up being extremely negative based on their lifestyle currently. Another downside for the client drinking or consuming alcohol is that they started drinking 2 years ago. So this may prove difficult for them to stop consuming alcohol in the future because they have been doing it for a reasonable amount of time now. And if they try and stop, it may then become they may become more stressed than they currently are now, which is extremely negative because they're already very stressed, mainly from uni. The final negative for this client consuming alcohol is that it is used as a de-stressor for them, meaning that they started drinking alcohol because it was a side effect of their stress, because it was a cure for their side effect of stress levels being so high. If the client becomes more stressed, then their alcohol consumption could also follow the same pattern and also rise along with the stress levels, since alcohol is used as a de-stressor to this client. In terms of stress, the only real strength that the client has to do with their stress levels is that it's mainly at uni, so it's not 100% of their life. They're always stressed, but work tends to stress them out a little bit every now and again. But uni's a constant stress when they are there and under pressure with their work, meaning it's vital for them. It's not vital for them to quit their job, since it's how they make their money and doesn't cause them extreme stress. So they will be able to make their money as it doesn't stress them out too much. On the other hand, the client feels as if they're extremely stressed most of the time, primarily due to uni, but also work, which is not as bad as uni because in uni their future depends on what grades they get, which is why they're feeling so pressured. Whereas their job is just their moneymaker, and they can get another one in the worst case scenario. The client said that they are usually stressed out most of their life because they go to uni and work combined, which can be a difficult combination. If their uni work is not up to standard, it could be because of their commitment towards their work also. But work itself doesn't stress them out too much, so they just need to use their time more productively, as they're stressed out so often because they're not very organised and do not plan ahead. And part of the reason why they could be so stressed is because their psychology is wrong in terms of their whole psychological thinking is wrong in terms of the way that they prioritize different things over things that they should be prioritizing first. Being stressed can cause a lot of health-related issues, particularly mentally, as their whole psychology, particularly mentally, as on this client in particular, the uni and work, but it can affect their sleeping pattern, which can increase stress even further and develop into mental health issues in the worst case scenario. But it's because they're always thinking about other things in their life instead of what they should be at that moment in time, for this client specifically. Finally, in terms of smoking, there's not any real strengths in smoking, since it is has a negative impact and has such a negative impact on the client. However, they haven't always smoked. It's just that they have been the last couple of years. It started along with the alcohol, but the only real positive is that it gives them a little bit of stress relief from uni and work, because it gives them a few minutes themselves whilst they have a cigarette and just have a couple minutes to relax themselves and bring them back, but just before they bring themselves back into their work and stress. There are many weaknesses when it comes to smoking, particularly for this client, as they smoke 8 times a day, which is not good because that adds up over time and takes a considerable amount of time off their life. And it does lead to many very serious health issues, primarily linked to the lungs, as one of the many major illnesses that it can cause is lung cancer, which is often fatal once diagnosed. The client has already been smoking this amount of cigarettes per day for the last 2 years, which means that if they were to try and stop, it would take them a very long time to be able to accomplish this. But it can be done using various methods such as nicotine patches. Another reason they should try and stop it is because it's very costly to smoke, particularly 8 a day. So if the client was able to stop, then it may relieve some of the stress they have because they would have more free money to do what they want with it. The last major negative to this client smoking is that it has got worse during uni and work. This is because the extreme workload they get from these alone, and then they combine it with sometimes too much for them to handle for this particular client. So they feel like they have to smoke at least to ease it a little bit in terms of stress. Which are the two big factors in their life, which are work and uni. If they continue to smoke this often for much longer, it will massively affect their life, particularly in their health-related issues, which could eventually lead to lung cancer.